A soft glow rises in the quiet. It gathers slowly, like the first warm breath of evening settling into a still room. Everything around you begins to soften, shaped gently by the calm light of a single lantern resting nearby. Its glow is steady, warm, unhurried. The air carries a hush, as though it has been waiting for you. Nothing pulls or rushes. Nothing demands anything at all. The moment opens with a kind of welcoming ease, inviting you to arrive just as you are. As the lantern continues to glow, the space around it becomes clearer. Soft edges appear. Shadows drift outward and settle into calm shapes on the walls. The room feels safe in this light, held together by warmth rather than brightness. Near the lantern is a small nook, made for quiet moments. Calm rests in its corners. A gentle stillness gathers in the air, settling over the floor, the chair, the soft shapes of the room. It is the kind of stillness that allows the breath to lengthen without effort. You step a little closer, letting the warmth guide your attention. The lantern's glow moves in a slow rhythm, steady and comforting. It wraps the space in a golden calm, a kind of peaceful shelter from the noise of the day. Even the shadows seem to breathe with you. The air holds a gentle quiet, not silence, but a soft presence that makes everything feel slower and easier. Here, nothing is sharp, nothing is loud. The world seems to pause, giving this moment room to open fully. As you settle into the space, the glow reaches toward you with a quiet familiarity. It brushes gently across your hands, your shoulders, the soft line of your breath. The warmth is delicate, never too much, never too bright, just enough to make the space feel close and comforting. The lantern's light deepens the sense of comfort around you. It feels like a place protected from the world outside, a place where time moves slowly, almost unnoticeably, in a soft drift. The air settles around you, steady and calm. With each passing moment, your breath finds an easier rhythm. It moves more gently now, like a tide smoothing against the shore. In this warm glow, you can feel your body easing into stillness. You can feel the day loosening its grip. The nook seems to welcome this shift. It offers a quiet space for rest, not by asking, but by simply being here. The lantern's light is enough to soften the mind, to let thoughts drift without needing to follow them. Everything slows to a gentle pace. Here, the lantern glows with a steady warmth that feels old and familiar. Its light carries a softness that settles into the corners of your awareness. You feel yourself easing into the room's quiet patterns, noticing how each breath feels a little lighter. The glow wraps gently around the cozy space, creating a small world of calm, a world where nothing needs to be done, where the quiet is kind, where the air itself seems to exhale beside you. You rest in this glow a little longer, letting it warm the edges of your thoughts, letting it ease the weight of the day, letting it gently steady your breath. The room continues to settle. Shadows rest. Warmth deepens. Everything slows into a peaceful stillness. Here, in this soft glow, the moment feels complete, unrushed, unfolding in its own gentle way. You drift a little deeper into the quiet, letting the lantern's warmth guide you inward. Nothing else is needed. Just this soft light, this quiet air, this slow, comforting ease. The match strikes with a tiny sound, then fades. A small flame appears, bright and new in the dimness. For a brief moment, everything is held around that one point of light. Then the flame is brought to the lantern's wick, and the glow begins. The flame catches slowly. It flickers once, then again, as if it is deciding how bright to be. Soft light wavers against the glass, reaching out and then drawing back. The room waits, quiet and patient, as the lantern finds its steady breath. Now the flame grows a little stronger. It settles into the wick, no longer unsure. The glass around it starts to reflect a gentle amber color, warm and smooth. This light is not sharp. It is gentle, like a kind hand resting nearby. Around the lantern, the darkness loosens. Shapes begin to appear, one by one. A chair, the curve of a table, the outline of a shelf. They all come into view in their own time, softly revealed by the spreading glow. The flame still sways, just a little. It moves in calm, slow motions, as though breathing in the quiet air. With each small movement, light washes across the room and then settles again. Shadows stretch, soften, and fall into peaceful stillness. Amber light thickens in the air, turning the space into something calm and close. It collects in the corners, smoothing out any sharp edges. Nothing feels harsh here. Everything is touched by warmth, as if the room is remembering how to relax. The walls hold this glow gently. They do not push it away. They receive it, reflecting it back in deeper, softer tones. The room begins to feel like a shelter, held in the circle of the lantern's reach. Here, the warmth spreads slowly, like quiet water filling a shallow pool. It moves over the floor and rises along the furniture. It wraps itself around the small nook, filling every empty space with gentle light. The air feels thicker, kinder, easier to rest in. In this moment, the body starts to respond. Shoulders begin to soften without needing to be told. The jaw loosens. Breath finds a slower path in and out, following the steady rhythm of the flame. The lantern continues to glow, no longer new, no longer unsure. Its flame is steady and calm, anchored in its place. Nothing about it is hurried. It simply shines, offering warmth to whatever is near. Shadows along the floor become softer, like quiet brushstrokes. They no longer cling tightly to the edges of things. Instead, they blend gently into the light, a smooth meeting of dark and warm. The contrast of day begins to fade from memory. Here, the space feels smaller in the best way. Not cramped, but close. Close enough to feel safe. Close enough that the warmth seems to reach you from all sides. As the glow deepens, muscles begin to let go of their grip. Hands rest more heavily where they are. The spine eases into a more natural curve. Even the small muscles around the eyes begin to soften. The room takes on a quiet, golden calm. It feels like evening, wrapped in a blanket of light. Any noise from outside seems far away, pushed back by the soft amber glow. The world beyond this nook becomes a distant thought. Breathing continues to slow, guided by the flame's gentle steadiness. Each inhale gathers a little of the warmth. Each exhale releases a bit more tension into the quiet air. The body is no longer holding the day as tightly as before. The lantern's glass holds tiny reflections of the room. Each reflection is a softer version of what is really there. Edges blur. Everything looks gentler, as if seen through half-closed eyes. The longer the lantern burns, the more natural it feels to be here. The light seems less like something added and more like something that has always belonged in this space. The room and the glow blend into one calm presence. There is a sense that nothing needs to change. Now the warmth reaches a deeper layer. It is not just in the air, but in the way time moves. Moments stretch a little longer. One breath flows quietly into the next. Thoughts, too, begin to follow this slower pace. They move more gently, like leaves drifting in a shallow stream. Some fade before they fully arrive. Some dissolve into the amber light without leaving a trace. The lantern flame bends slightly and rises again, small and steady. Its movements are simple and hypnotic. If attention rests on it, even for a moment, everything else in the mind grows quieter. The flame is enough. Shadows around the nook have now taken on a soft, velvety darkness. They feel welcoming rather than empty. They hold the light in place, giving it contrast, giving it depth. The balance between glow and shade feels just right. Here, comfort gathers. It gathers in the folds of fabric, in the gentle slope of the chair, in the quiet corners where the light meets the shadow. The warmth of the lantern begins to feel like it is coming from inside the body as well as outside. A sense of ease spreads through the chest and down through the limbs. Heaviness appears, but it is the kind that brings rest, not strain. The body feels more supported, more willing to let go. The room has now fully accepted the lantern's presence. No part of the space feels untouched by its gentle influence. Every surface holds some echo of the amber glow. Every breath seems to carry a tiny piece of its warmth. In this settled light, the mind has fewer reasons to wander. There is nowhere it needs to go, nothing it needs to solve. Only this quiet glow, this slowly deepening comfort. The flame continues to hold steady, as if it has found exactly the right size and strength. Not too bright, not too dim. Perfect for a night that calls for softness. Now the room, the light, and the breath all move together in an easy harmony. Each small shift in the flame feels like a signal to relax a little more. Each slow inhale and exhale echoes the lantern's calm. Everything in this space leans gently toward rest. The glow spreads one last time across the room, smoothing out any remaining roughness. It settles over you like a warm, quiet veil. The air feels still and kind. The body feels loose and heavy, ready to drift. In the steady lantern light, time thins to a soft thread. There is only this warm room, this calm glow, this slow, quiet ease that spreads and settles, then settles a little more, and then simply rests. The chair waits in the soft lantern light. It stands in its familiar place, quiet and steady, as though it has been saving this spot just for you. The cushions hold the gentle shape of many evenings, softened by time and rest. Everything about it suggests ease. As you move closer, the room seems to fall into a slower rhythm. The glow from the lantern touches the chair first, then the space around it. Shadows gather softly along the legs and arms. The air feels warm and calm, as if it too is inviting you to sit. You reach the chair and pause for a moment. The fabric is worn in the best way, smooth where hands have rested, softened where bodies have leaned. There is comfort in knowing this chair has held many quiet moments before. It understands how to support weight, how to cradle tired muscles. Lowering yourself into the seat, you feel the cushions yield. They accept you slowly, not with a bounce, but with a gentle, steady embrace. The chair seems to rise up slightly around you, as if it is meeting you halfway. For a brief second, there is a tiny creak of wood, honest and soft, like a sigh. The back of the chair welcomes your spine. Its shape seems to match yours, guiding you into a natural, easy posture. Your shoulders find a place to rest without effort. The curve of the chair invites your body to let go. The seat cushions cradle your hips. They spread the weight gently, holding you without pressing back. There is no need to adjust or search for a better spot. The chair has already offered one. Your feet find the floor or a footrest, anchored but relaxed. Knees soften. Thighs release their grip. Everything below the waist starts to feel heavier, more grounded, supported by the quiet strength of the chair. The arms of the chair invite your hands to rest. They are smooth and familiar beneath your fingers. Maybe the wood is cool at first, then slowly warmed by skin. Your hands grow still, no longer needing to move or hold anything. A small sound of settling passes through the frame. The wood adjusts to your weight and then becomes quiet again. That little creak is a reminder that the chair is alive in its own gentle way, responding to you, making room. After that, all is still. The lantern light brushes over the fabric, over your legs, over your hands. It softens every line and edge. Wrapped in this glow, the chair feels even more like a safe harbor. You are no longer standing in the room. You are held within it. Attention begins to shift inward. You notice how your back feels where it touches the chair. There may have been tension there, but now it loosens bit by bit. Muscles that were working all day begin to understand they can rest. Your shoulders sink a little deeper into the cushion behind them. They may drop by just a fraction, but that small change feels important. Each breath helps them release more fully. Each exhale lets the chair take a little more of the weight. The seat fits around you, neither too soft nor too firm. It supports without pressing, cradles without trapping. You can feel the fabric under your clothing, a steady, neutral presence. It stays beneath you, like a quiet promise that you are not going anywhere you do not want to go. The slow rhythm of the body begins to match the stillness of the chair. Breath rises and falls against the backrest. The chest moves with a calm, natural sway. The chair feels as if it is breathing along with you, rising on each inhale, settling on each exhale. Around your ribs, there is space to expand. The sides of the chair do not press in. They simply stay nearby, like gentle boundaries. Air flows in, filling the chest. Air flows out, leaving behind a little more ease. Your neck finds its own comfortable angle. The head rests, neither pulled forward nor held rigid. The support behind it is quiet and dependable. The heavier your head feels, the more the chair seems to accept and cushion that weight. Small areas of tension become easier to notice, and then easier to release. If a muscle holds on, the chair does not push it. It simply stays steady beneath it. That steadiness is a reminder that nothing needs to be held up alone. Everything can lean. A sense of being held begins to grow. Not in a gripping way, but in a safe, steady way. The chair carries your shape, your weight, your tiredness, without complaint. It feels patient, like it has all the time in the world. The quiet creak that greeted you earlier is gone now. The frame has settled. The room has accepted you in this resting place. All that remains is the soft hum of stillness. Breath follows a gentle pattern. In and out, in and out. Each cycle seems to sink you a little deeper into the cushions. Your legs feel heavier, comfortably so. Calves and ankles release any leftover tightness. Feet become warm and lazy, content where they are. The chair holds the upper body while the ground holds the lower, and together they form a cradle. The lanterns glow and the chair's support work together. Light soothes the mind. Cushions soothe the body. Between them, the space around you feels calm and complete. Here, movement is no longer needed. There is no urge to shift, to adjust, to stand. The position feels right, like a final piece settling into place. Stillness becomes not just possible, but natural. Thoughts may slow to match the rhythm of the breath and the quiet of the chair. They drift in, drift out, without urgency. Nothing clings tightly. The steady embrace of the seat makes it easy to let them pass. In this simple act of sitting, of being supported, the body remembers what ease feels like. It remembers that it does not always need to hold, to brace, to be ready. It can soften into something trusted. It can be carried for a while. The chair does not change. It simply continues to be strong and soft in all the right places. The longer you rest here, the more it feels like the two of you have made an agreement. You will let go, and it will hold on. Breathing and stillness keep moving together in quiet partnership. Each exhale flows down into the seat, into the cushions, into the frame. The chair receives all of it without resistance. What returns is only calm. Here, in this warm nook, in this chair made for rest, everything slows. The body is wrapped in support, the mind is wrapped in quiet. The moment stretches, soft and gentle, and then stretches a little more, until all that remains is the feeling of being safely, completely held. The room is quiet in the lantern light. Warm glow settles over the chair, over your hands, over the small table beside you. On that table, a book waits. Its cover is calm and familiar, like something you have reached for many times before. Fingers move toward it without hurry. The surface is smooth, maybe a little worn at the edges. There is comfort in that gentle wear, a sign of many evenings spent in quiet company. The book feels like an old friend that never asks for more than your presence. You lift it slowly. The weight rests easily in your hands. Not heavy, not light, just right. The spine yields a little as you shift it, another small sign of all the stories it has carried. The lantern's glow brushes across the cover, turning its colors soft and muted. As the book opens, the first sound appears. A small, dry rustle, almost like a breath made of paper. It is a sound that belongs only to this space, this moment. The pages move apart with a gentle sigh. They do not snap or crackle. They barely speak at all, just a soft whisper of fibers sliding over each other. That whisper joins the quiet of the lantern and the steady rhythm of the breath. Under your fingers, the paper feels smoother with the slightest hint of texture. Not rough, not slick, just enough to remind you that it is real. Each page carries a tiny edge, thin and crisp, ready to turn. The touch is simple and grounding. You pause on a page and hold it in place. The book rests open across your lap. The spine settles into this new shape, and you may hear the faintest sound as it adjusts. Then stillness returns. The room now contains another layer of calm. Not only light and warmth, but also this quiet presence of words resting on paper. You do not need to think about what they say. For now, it is enough to know they are there. A slow breath rises and falls. With each inhale, the chest lifts gently against the chair. With each exhale, shoulders sink a little deeper. The book rises and falls with you, a soft weight moving in time with your breathing. When the time feels right, one page begins to turn. Fingers slide to the corner and guide it across. The sound is soft and steady, like cloth brushing lightly against cloth. The page settles on the other side with a faint, final whisper. This sound repeats again and again in its own unhurried rhythm. Turn, rustle, rest. Each gentle shift of paper marks a small moment of change. The book moves forward, but there is no hurry to reach any end. The turning is the experience. The motion, the sound, the feel of it, these are enough. The faint scent of the book rises now and then. It carries a trace of time, of ink and paper warmed by years of quiet handling. There is something soothing about that scent, mild and familiar. It folds into the warm air of the nook and disappears. Eyes may soften, taking in the shapes on the page without needing to fix on them. Lines blur a little in the gentle light. Meaning becomes less important than the simple act of being here with this book. Awareness drifts between the lantern, the pages, and the slow movement of breath. Another page turns. Another soft rustle slips into the silence. It is almost like the room is speaking in a language made of paper and light. Each sound says only this: you are here, and it is enough. A small pause lingers between page turns. In that pause, everything grows very still. Lantern light does not move quickly. Shadows stay where they are, quiet and patient. In this stillness, the book becomes more than an object. It feels like a gentle anchor. Your hands on its sides, your lap beneath it, your body wrapped around it. The connection is simple and steady. You are not reaching outward, you are sinking inward. The motion of your fingers slows even more. They trace the edge of a page, feel the thinness, the coolness. There is no need to rush to the next moment. Each page is a small, calm world of its own. Words rest on the paper, ready if you want them, peaceful if you do not. They wait without pressure. Sometimes you move through them. Sometimes you simply float above them, letting their shapes blur into quiet patterns. The lantern's glow touches every turned page. It washes over the pale surface, over the gentle imperfections, over the slight curve where the page meets the spine. Light and shadow play across the open book in slow, fluid lines. Nothing in this dance is sharp or urgent. Breathing remains steady. In and out, in and out. Each soft rustle of paper seems to ride on that rhythm. Curiosity melts into calm presence. At first, there may have been a small spark of interest. What does this page hold? And the next, and the next. Now, that spark has settled into a warm, steady glow. It is enough just to be here, turning pages in the quiet. The book feels more natural in your hands with each passing moment. Its weight is familiar now. Its scent, its sound, its touch, all have become part of the background of comfort. They weave together with the chair and the lantern into one gentle fabric of rest. Time stretches out like a long, soft ribbon. You lose track of how many pages have turned. It might be 5, or 15, or 50. It does not matter. All that matters is that each motion is easy, each sound is soft, each breath is slow. The pages move when they are ready to move, and are still when they are ready to be still. At some point, the hands grow even heavier on the book. They rest there more than they move. Fingers curl loosely around the edges, relaxed and unthinking. The urge to turn another page drifts farther away. The book now lies open, calm and quiet, like a small, familiar landscape. Lantern light washes over it, then over your hands, then over the quiet room. Everything feels connected. A single, slow, peaceful moment stretched wide. Even thoughts begin to move like pages, soft and easy to turn, soft and easy to let rest. Breath deepens one more time. The chest rises, falls. The book rises, falls. The room seems to breathe along. Here, in the warm glow, with pages that whisper and then grow quiet, the mind loosens its hold. The body settles. The book stays where it is, willing to move with you or simply remain. The sound of turning pages fades into memory, leaving only the soft, drifting hush that follows. The lantern glows softly beside the chair. Its warm light settles over the nook, over the book, over resting hands. Beyond the circle of this glow, another presence reaches in from the side. A window waits, quiet and dark, holding the night just beyond the glass. Slowly, attention drifts toward it. The frame stands simple and steady, a clear opening to the world outside. Lantern light touches only the edges, leaving the glass mostly dark. In that darkness, the night gathers like a calm, deep breath. At first, the view is only shapes, soft outlines, gentle shadows, the faint suggestion of trees, their branches drawn in quiet strokes against the sky. Everything seems hushed, as though the world outside has lowered its voice. Eyes rest on those silhouettes. Branches reach upward and outward, still for long moments, then shifting just a little. A slow sway, almost too small to notice, moves through them when a breeze passes by. The motion is unhurried, like someone turning slowly in their sleep. Above the trees, the sky stretches wide and dark. It is not empty. Tiny points of starlight rest there, scattered in no particular hurry, each one steady and quiet. Some shimmer faintly, barely moving, as if breathing with the night. The glass stands between this cool, open world and the warm shelter of the nook. It holds back the chill and the wind, lets in only what is gentle, the shapes, the soft light, the silent distance. Inside, the air stays warm and still. Outside, the night moves at its own slow pace. The eyes linger on the thin line where tree branches meet sky. Some are sharp and clear, others fade into a mist of shadow. Here and there, a small gap opens, showing a tiny patch of sky shining through. These little windows within the window feel like secret spaces of calm. A breath rises and falls as the gaze rests lightly on this view. The chest lifts, then settles again. The rhythm inside the room begins to match the slow rhythm outside. Breathing feels like joining the night, like quietly nodding in time with it. The faint movement of the branches becomes a kind of silent conversation. They tilt just slightly, then stop. They return, then rest again. Nothing is sudden, nothing is sharp. Now and then, the eyes wander to a single star. It sits above the treetops, small yet steady. Its light has travelled a long way, yet here it seems simple and soft. Looking at it brings a gentle sense of distance and quiet wonder. The window holds all of this without effort. It frames the night the way hands might frame a warm mug. Close, steady, careful. The world outside remains far enough away to feel safe, close enough to be comforting. The glass may hold a faint reflection of the room, a suggestion of the lantern's glow, a shadow of the chair, a pale outline of resting hands. These reflections blend with the shapes of the trees, mixing inside and outside into one soft picture. It feels as though the night is not entirely outside and the warmth is not entirely inside. They meet in the glass. Inside the room, the body rests deep in the chair. Warmth gathers around shoulders, along the back, beneath the legs. The floor is steady beneath the feet. The chair holds the weight without shifting. Outside, the cool air moves gently through the trees. It touches leaves and bare branches, slips past them, slides further into the dark. The night has its own quiet life. It is present, but not pressing. Between these two worlds, the window becomes a calm boundary. It says, without words, that it is all right to watch and not enter. It is all right to enjoy the night without needing to step into it. Safety lives on this side of the glass, while spaciousness lives on the other. Time stretches out in long, slow moments. The eyes follow a single branch as it shifts and settles. Watch the way it leans, then pauses, then returns. Each tiny movement is enough. The sky above remains steady. Stars may seem almost frozen in place. Clouds, if there are any, drift so slowly that their passage is more felt than seen. Everything up there encourages the mind to slow to its pace. Breathing deepens just a little more. The chest fills with warm air from the room, then lets it go. Each exhale seems to release another small layer of tension into the quiet. The window, the trees, the stars all hold that released weight and let it dissolve into the night. The sense of being indoors grows stronger. Walls are close, but they feel kind, like arms drawn around the space. The roof above stands firm, unseen yet reassuring. This room is a nest set beside the window, sheltered and calm. A soft awareness settles in the body that nothing outside can reach in uninvited. The cool dark stays beyond the glass, gentle and contained. Rain, if it falls, will trace lines on the pane and not on the skin. Wind, if it rises, will touch the trees and not the warm air of the nook. Security deepens with each quiet moment of watching. The night no longer feels vast in a way that overwhelms. It feels vast in a way that comforts, a wide, soft blanket laid gently over the world. From here, that blanket can be admired without needing to be worn. Inside, the lantern continues its low, steady glow. Its light does not reach all the way to the farthest branches, but it does not need to. It reaches far enough to hold the window frame, to touch the glass with a gentle warmth. That is enough to tie the night to the room in a peaceful balance. Eyes grow heavier as they move between the tree line and the soft shimmer of a star. The gaze no longer seeks anything in particular. It simply rests wherever it lands. Sometimes on the sky, sometimes on a branch, sometimes on the reflection of the room. Thoughts begin to move more slowly, like clouds drifting behind the treetops. They pass across the mind and then out of it, leaving little behind. The view through the window helps them soften and fade. The mind grows quieter, matching the stillness of the sky. The window stands as a watchful, gentle guardian. It keeps the cool distance of the night exactly where it belongs. It lets in only softness, shapes, light, quiet motion. Everything else remains outside, far away. The sense of being tucked in, enclosed and safe increases with each breath. The room feels like a small, warm island floating beside an ocean of night. The window is the shoreline, calm and clear. You stand on the safe side, enjoying the view. In this moment, both inside and outside are at peace. The chair holds. The lantern glows. The night waits calmly beyond the glass. The eyes linger one last time on the soft silhouettes of the trees, the distant starlight, the gentle border where sky meets branch. Then they grow a little softer, a little slower. The window remains, holding the night at a kind distance, while warmth gathers close. Everything settles into a quiet, protected stillness that simply continues, deep and calm, into the dark. The room is quiet and warm. Lantern light settles into every corner of the nook, soft and low. The chair holds the body gently, already shaped to comfort. Around the legs, the air feels just a little cooler than the rest of the room. Beside the chair, folded neatly, waits a quilt. It rests over the arm or on a nearby table, a familiar bundle of fabric and softness. Its weight is clear even before touching it, the kind of weight that promises warmth. It has been waiting for just this moment. Hands reach toward it slowly. Fingers meet the outer layer first, brushing along the surface. The fabric feels soft and worn in all the right ways, with tiny ridges where stitches run in gentle lines. This is not new cloth. It is trusted and known. The quilt lifts with a quiet pull. Its weight gathers into the arms, heavier than a blanket, but in a comforting way. It drapes over the forearms, folds hanging down, swinging slightly in the lantern glow. The body responds even before it covers you, already expecting the warmth. Carefully, it is unfolded. Fabric slides over fabric, creating a soft, muffled sound that fits perfectly into the hush of the room. Each layer opens like a slow breath. Bit by bit, the quilt grows wider, ready to settle over waiting knees. The lower half of the body rests, still and receptive. Legs are grounded, feet secure, nothing strained. As the quilt begins to lower, the air between fabric and skin cools for just a moment. Then, gently, the first touch arrives. The quilt comes to rest across the knees. Its weight settles there, solid but gentle, like a calm hand laid lightly in place. More of it continues to fall into position, covering thighs, perhaps reaching down toward the ankles. The warmth is not immediate. It builds slowly, quietly, with patience. The fabric shapes itself to the body. It smooths over the curve of the knees, softens around the sides of the legs, nestles into any small spaces left between. Every fold finds a place to belong. Nothing feels tight, nothing feels loose, just comfortably present. At first, the weight is the main thing felt. The awareness is of how much more grounded the legs seem, how much more anchored they feel. It is a steady, reassuring heaviness, the sort that makes shifting less tempting, less necessary. The body understands that it can stay just as it is. Heat begins to gather, gentle and subtle. It rises from the skin and stays beneath the quilt, forming a soft layer of warmth. Coolness from the room is still there at the edges, but it cannot reach as deeply as before. The legs rest in their own small pocket of comfort. Hands might rest on top, fingers lightly touching the quilt's patterns and seams. They feel the slight bumps where pieces of fabric meet, the tiny waves where stitching has pulled the cloth together. Each line tells of care and time, of evenings spent creating something meant to comfort. That sense of care seems to pass through the hands and into the chest. The weight of the quilt deepens the connection between body and chair. It keeps the knees from wandering, keeps the legs from fidgeting. The whole lower half feels gently pinned in place, not trapped, but held. This quiet pressure sends a message that it is safe to be still. Breathing begins to respond to this new warmth. Inhalations seem to reach farther down, as though they can travel beneath the quilt and into the muscles of the legs. Exhalations carry away strain, encouraging thighs and calves to soften. With each breath out, the limbs feel a little heavier, a little more relaxed. Lantern light brushes across the quilt surface, highlighting folds and valleys. Shadows nestle in the low places, while the raised seams catch a faint glow. This gentle play of light emphasizes the quilt's presence, its solid, comforting shape across the lap. It is both a covering and a companion. As warmth builds, deeper layers of tension start to ease. Muscles you might not have noticed begin to let go. The tops of the thighs, the sides of the hips, even small places around the knees. They soften into the quiet heat. The chair supports everything, and the quilt completes the sense of being cradled. Thoughts slow in response to this steady, enveloping comfort. There is less interest in what lies beyond this room, less energy for distant worries. Most of the awareness stays here, with the weight and warmth across the knees, with the steady glow of the lantern, with the quiet around you. The mind drifts in gentle circles and then settles. The quilt molds itself more closely with every passing minute. It responds to your shape, to the way the legs rest, to the stillness of your position. Wrinkles smooth out as the fabric finds its path. The heaviness becomes a natural extension of the body. A deep sense of being cocooned begins to form. Above, the shoulders and chest are wrapped in warm air and soft light. Below, the legs are wrapped in fabric and steady weight. Between the two, the torso acts as a bridge, supported by the chair, relaxed and unhurried. Time now feels even slower than before. Moments stretch, quiet and wide, like calm water in a sheltered pool. There is nothing to push toward, nothing to prepare for. The only task is to rest under the quilt's gentle embrace. Breath moves in a slower rhythm, matching this spacious sense of time. In, warmth, out, release. Every cycle carries you a little deeper into comfort. The room around you grows softer. Edges blur. The glow from the lantern feels lower, calmer, as if it too is resting. But the quilt remains clear and solid, a steady presence across your knees. Even tiny movements, if they happen, are gentle. A slight shift of the foot, a small adjustment in the angle of the leg. The quilt follows each one smoothly, never pulling, never resisting. It simply settles again, accepting the new shape without complaint. Underneath, the skin feels surrounded, not exposed to the room, not reached by stray drafts. Every part covered by the quilt lives in a private world of softness and warmth. This quiet enclosure invites the whole body to surrender to rest. Around the edges, where quilt meets air, there is a tender boundary. Warmth fades gradually into the cooler space of the room. That slow transition adds to the feeling of depth and comfort, like being nestled in the middle of something kind. Inside that boundary, everything is safe. The sense of being cocooned grows fuller. It is as if the nook has drawn in closer, wrapping itself around you while the quilt wraps around your legs. The chair, the lantern, the quiet, and the quilt all work together to hold you here. held, supported, and gently anchored. In this soft stillness, there is nothing to do. No need to change position. No need to plan or remember. Only the steady weight across the knees, the warmth soaking in, and the slow drift of breathing. The quilt feels as though it has always belonged here, waiting for this precise moment. Its warmth has reached the deeper places of the body now, places that rarely get attention. Those hidden spaces loosen and rest. The whole self feels a little softer, a little quieter, a little more at peace. Lantern light continues to glow, the chair continues to hold, and the quilt continues to warm. All of it flows together into one gentle sense of ease. Thoughts fade, breath slows, and the body rests heavily, comfortably, under the soft, familiar weight. Everything settles into a deep, quiet calm that simply stays. The lantern glows in its quiet place. Warm light settles over the nook, over the chair, over the quilt resting across the legs. Around all of this, the room holds a deeper kind of calm. It is as if the air itself is resting. The walls stand close and steady. They do not move. They do not speak. They simply surround the space with gentle strength. Their stillness adds weight to the quiet. Wooden scents float softly through the air. A hint of old floorboards, of shelves that have held many things, of furniture that has stayed in this room for a long time. The smell is light but familiar, like the memory of a warm day long ago. It lingers in a way that soothes more than it calls attention. The floor beneath the chair does not creak now. It has already adjusted, already accepted the weight it carries. Boards lie side by side, unmoving, supporting everything without needing to be noticed. Their silence feels dependable. In this room, even the air seems to move slowly. It brushes gently against the skin, almost too soft to feel. Now and then, a tiny shift passes through, a cooler thread of air sliding by and fading again. Each movement is quiet and unhurried. The lantern's flame makes no sound that can be heard. If there is a noise, it is nothing more than a faint imagined hush. The light simply exists, rising and falling almost imperceptibly. Its presence is known more by what it touches than by any motion of its own. Shadows along the walls stay mostly still. They rest where they have gathered, in corners, around furniture, in the gentle folds of fabric. Every so often, there might be the slightest change in their shape as the flame moves. These tiny shifts come and go without urgency. Breath becomes part of the room's quiet. Inhaling brings in the warm air, the faint wooden notes, the softness of the space. Exhaling releases any small tension that remains, letting it blend into the stillness. The rhythm is slow and natural. Each breath seems to widen the sense of space inside the chest. Even though the room is small and enclosed, there is a feeling of openness within. The edges of the body feel less rigid, less fixed. Inside, there is room to relax. The quiet of the room is not empty. It is filled with small, gentle presences. The solid weight of the chair, the soft press of the quilt, the warm glow of the lantern. All of these are held together by silence. A silence that is kind, not harsh. It feels protective, like a door closed gently against the outside world. Nothing pressing, nothing demanding, nothing loud. Any sounds from beyond these walls are distant and softened. If something passes outside, the room receives only the faintest suggestion of it. The thicker air and the solid walls blur it into almost nothing. Inside, the quiet remains whole. The longer attention rests here, the more details appear. A slight scent of old paper from books on a nearby shelf, a trace of fabric softness from the chair and quilt, the comfortable warmth of air that has been still for a long time. These details do not crowd the mind. They arise one at a time, slowly and gently. Each one adds a layer to the feeling of being here. Together, they create a sense of deep, welcoming presence. The room holds its own kind of listening. It feels as though everything is tuned toward rest. Furniture, walls, floor, air, all leaning softly in the same direction. Everything is oriented toward calm. Breathing falls into that shared rhythm. In and out. In and out. Each cycle blends into the silence, like small waves fading into a still shore. Thoughts may appear, but they too move more slowly here. They stretch out, lose their sharp edges, and drift through the mind without catching. Instead of pulling attention away, they pass like quiet shapes in the distance. The room's stillness gently encourages them to soften and fade. The body responds to the quiet that surrounds it. Shoulders stay low and at ease. Hands rest without needing to grip or move. The weight of the body feels fully supported, fully allowed to be heavy. Inside the chest, the heart's steady beat continues in its own soft way. It is not loud, not forceful, just present. Its rhythm matches the calm of the room, steady and sure. This gentle pulse becomes another part of the quiet. The room's untouched surfaces add to the sense of peace. Dust lies undisturbed in high corners. Shelves and objects stay exactly where they are. Nothing is being rearranged or used or changed. This stillness suggests that time is moving differently here. Minutes do not feel crowded. They open out, long and slow, like a path with no need to be followed. Each one is allowed to exist fully before another begins. Between breaths, between small thoughts, there are spaces. These spaces feel wide and soft. They are not empty, but filled with a kind of gentle nothingness, a calm that asks for nothing. Rest lives inside those spaces. Every now and then, awareness returns to the quiet fragrance of wood. It carries a sense of age and stability, of things that have lasted. That scent seems to say that this room has known many peaceful moments before. It will be here for many more. The protective silence of the space becomes clearer. It is not just the absence of sound, but the presence of safety. Within these walls, under this roof, beside this lantern, the world feels far away. Close by, only calm remains. Breath continues to soften into the space. Each exhale feels like a small offering, released into the room and gently absorbed. In return, the room offers warmth and stillness. It feels like a quiet exchange, simple and effortless. The mind begins to mirror the room. Thoughts slow to almost a standstill. Awareness spreads out, no longer focused on one thing, but resting lightly on many small sensations at once. The result is spaciousness, inside and out. The quiet of the room moves deeper into the body. It settles behind the eyes, in the jaw, at the base of the neck. It flows down the spine, across the shoulders, through the arms and into the hands. Every part it touches feels looser, softer, more free to be still. Nothing needs to be said here. Nothing needs to happen. The room is complete exactly as it is. You are complete exactly as you are within it. Lantern light, wooden scent, steady walls, warm air, soft fabric. All of them belong to this single, quiet moment. They hold the body and the breath in a gentle embrace. They ask nothing in return, only that you allow yourself to rest among them. The room's silence deepens, waiting calmly, patiently, as everything inside and outside settles into one shared, peaceful hush. The lantern glows steadily in its place. Warm light gathers near it, then stretches outward in every direction. On the walls around the nook, that light begins to change into something softer. Shapes appear not solid, but gentle and shifting. Shadows form where the light meets the edges of things. The back of the chair, the curve of the table, the lines of books on a shelf. Each object catches the glow and throws a shadow outward. Those shadows do not stay still. The flame inside the lantern moves with the smallest motions of the air. It leans one way, then the other, a slow, quiet dance. As it does, the shadows respond. They lengthen, shorten, slide, and drift along the walls. On one part of the wall, a soft, rounded shape expands in the glow. It might be the outline of the chair. Its edges blur and sharpen with each tiny shift of the flame. Watching it, the mind begins to move at the same unhurried pace. Another shadow stretches up from the table. It reaches toward the ceiling, then pulls gently back. The motion is smooth, without corners or sudden changes. It feels like watching a slow tide, coming in and going out. The edges of these shapes glow faintly where the lantern's light brushes against them. Light and dark meet in thin, soft lines. Glimmers of brightness fade gradually into deeper shade. Nothing is harsh, nothing is abrupt. The eyes follow one drifting pattern along the wall. It curves around a corner, bending as the flame bends. For a moment, it becomes a tall shape, then shrinks down into something smaller, quieter. There is no need to name it. The motion alone is enough. Breathing begins to match this gentle shifting. Inhale as a shadow expands. Exhale as it recedes. Without effort, breath and light and dark move together. In some places, the shadows overlap. Two shapes cross, creating a slightly darker patch where they meet. Even this deeper shade feels soft, like a quiet pocket in the room. The eyes might rest there for a few slow heartbeats, then wander away. The lantern's glow touches the ceiling, then falls back to the walls. Shadows stretch across that higher space in long, faint ribbons. They ripple at the edges with every tiny movement of the flame. It is like looking up into a still pond and seeing gentle waves. As attention drifts from one shadow to the next, thoughts drift as well. Ideas, memories, small worries, all of them begin to move like these shapes. They appear, shift softly, and then fade into the background. The mind does not need to hold them tightly. The room seems to breathe through this play of light and shade. When the flame leans forward, the dark areas thicken. When it leans back, the glow returns and the shadows thin. This quiet rhythm makes everything feel alive, but very calm. Hands rest where they are. The body is still, wrapped in warmth and fabric. Only the eyes move, and even they move slowly. Gaze glides across the room, following the paths of the shifting shadows. Sometimes a single tiny flicker sends a ripple through the whole wall. Lines waver, corners soften and melt. The change happens so gently that it feels like time is stretching. It becomes easy to imagine that worries and thoughts are also made of light and shade. They grow for a moment, then shrink. They stretch across the mind, then break apart into smaller pieces. Eventually, they dissolve into the dimness at the edges. The hypnotic rhythm of the lantern's movement invites attention to wander, not far away, just around the room, from one glowing edge to one soft patch of dark, to a curved line rising and falling like a slow breath. Nothing in the scene demands focus. Any part of it can be watched or ignored. The gentle dance continues whether it is seen or not. Knowing that is its own kind of comfort. The light reaches across the quilt and onto the floor. Shadows gather in the hollows between the folds of fabric. Each crease holds a small pool of shade with a glowing rim of brightness. These tiny landscapes of light feel soothing to the eyes. On the nearby shelves, the spines of books catch the glow. Their shadows fall behind them in thin, dark stripes. As the lantern flickers, the stripes slide and sway. They move together like tall grass in a slow breeze. Every surface in the nook takes part in this quiet shifting. Nothing is completely still, yet nothing moves quickly. The entire room flows at the pace of a soft, steady lullaby. Breath deepens again, in and out. The rise and fall of the chest becomes another shadow, another motion in the room. The body, too, joins this dance of gentle movement. Sometimes the eyes close for a moment. Even behind closed lids, the glow and shadow remain. They can be felt rather than seen, like a soft impression. When the eyes open again, the room is still moving in the same calm way. With each passing moment, the mind releases a little more. Thoughts lose their sharp lines, blending into one another. They become like the shadows, drifting, shifting, never staying in one fixed shape. Attention can follow them or simply let them pass. The lantern continues its quiet work, casting warmth and soft darkness around the room. It does not tire. It does not rush. Its steady flicker keeps the shadows moving in endless, soothing patterns. Watching them becomes less about seeing and more about feeling. The gentle changes in light are like a hand stroking the edges of awareness. They smooth out the creases of the day. They calm the ripples in the mind. The longer the gaze rests on these warm shadows, the more the body relaxes. Muscles ease without needing instruction. The jaw loosens, the neck softens, the shoulders sink deeper into support. All the while, the shifting light keeps time in the softest possible way. Nothing needs to be controlled here. The flame moves as it wishes. The shadows follow. The mind is free to drift with them or to rest in stillness. Slowly, the room feels quieter inside the mind as well. Shadow and light continue their gentle dance along the walls. But inside, everything grows smooth and wide, like a calm, open sky at night. Thoughts dim down to a comfortable glow. The lantern keeps glowing. Shadows keep moving. Breath keeps flowing. All of it blends together into one easy, fluid rhythm that rocks the mind toward deeper rest. In this soft dance of warm shadows, focus loosens, then loosens a little more. The eyes grow heavy. Awareness settles into a peaceful blur of glow and shade, until the room, the lantern, and the drifting shapes along the walls all melt into one quiet, lulling calm that gently carries everything into silence. The room rests in a deep, easy quiet. Lantern light glows softly nearby, warm and low. The chair holds the body. The quilt rests across the knees. Everything has settled into a slow, gentle stillness. In this stillness, something simple continues. Breath moves in its own calm rhythm. It has been there the whole time, rising and falling without asking for attention. Now, awareness begins to lean toward it. The chest lifts a little under the quilt. The fabric shifts the smallest amount, barely noticeable. Warm air comes in through the nose or the mouth and fills the space inside. Then, just as quietly, it flows out again. Nothing about this movement is forced. It is as natural as the lantern's glow, as quiet as the shadows along the walls. Breath comes, breath goes. A soft pattern, steady and kind. The quilt rises with each inhale, only a small amount, but enough to see, enough to feel. It is like a gentle wave moving upward, then slowly sinking back down, up and down, up and down. Underneath that fabric, the chest expands and softens. Ribs open a little, then rest. The space inside feels less tight, less crowded. With each breath out, something seems to loosen. The air in the room is warm and still. As it comes in, it feels smooth and easy. As it leaves, it carries tiny traces of the day with it. Those traces dissolve into the quiet, leaving nothing behind. The lantern's light seems to move with this rhythm. When the chest lifts, the glow feels a touch brighter. When it falls, the light feels softer, as if it, too, is relaxing. Breath and light begin to feel connected. In this moment, there is nowhere else to be. Just here, with the gentle rise under the quilt. Just here, with the slow release that follows. The entire room seems to lean into this calm rhythm. Shoulders rest more heavily against the back of the chair. They follow the same movement, up a little, down a little. With every exhale, they slide a bit lower, a bit closer to true rest. Muscles no longer feel the need to hold themselves up so tightly. The neck and jaw feel this too. As breath grows softer, they let go of small tensions. Teeth part slightly, tongue settles easily, the throat stays open. The path for air is clear and free. Even the hands resting on the quilt or by the sides move slightly with each breath. They rise a fraction, then fall. The motion is gentle enough to feel safe, steady enough to feel soothing. It is like being rocked very, very slowly. The quiet of the room wraps around this rhythm. Walls stand steady. Shadows stay soft. Everything outside this small space feels far away and unimportant. In the center of all this calm, breath continues its simple work. In, warmth comes in. Out, tension flows out, again and again without needing any effort. The mind begins to follow along. Thoughts move in and out the way air does. They appear, linger for a moment, then fade on the next exhale. Nothing needs to be chased or held. Awareness settles into a gentle pattern. Chest rising, quilt lifting, warm air entering, filling, and then leaving. Lantern glow resting over it all. Sometimes the breath feels a little deeper, sometimes a little lighter. Both are welcome, both are fine. The body finds its own comfortable pace. The smoothness of the quilt against the chest adds to the calm. Its weight is steady, reassuring. As it moves with each breath, it feels like a soft hand resting there, keeping company with the heart. The heart answers with its quiet, steady beat. At the edges of the room, shadows stay in place. They do not push in. They do not pull away. They simply witness this slow ebb and flow. The whole space seems to breathe with you. The air feels slightly warmer on the way out than it did on the way in. That warmth carries a feeling of release. Tiny moments of letting go, repeated again and again. Each one small, Yet together they create a deep sense of ease. Inside the head, thoughts grow softer. They speak in softer tones or stop speaking altogether. Images may float by, like quiet scenes half remembered. Then they drift away on the next slow breath out. Some breaths may feel longer than others. Some may feel shorter. All of them belong here. All of them fit into the slow rhythm of the room. The lantern does not flicker sharply. Its glow lives in gentle pulses, almost too subtle to see. This soft pulsing matches the feeling inside the chest, a calm, shared tempo between light and body. Time stretches around this simple movement. Moments seem to widen. There is more space inside each inhale, more rest inside each exhale. Deep within the body, the quiet reaches further. Down into the stomach, down into the hips and legs. Each breath out sends a little more relaxation downward, like warm water sinking into sand. The sense of being separate from the room begins to fade. The body is not just sitting in the nook, it is part of it, part of the chair, part of the air, part of the gentle lantern glow. Everything moves together in one slow rhythm. In this peaceful alignment, even the smallest sounds feel distant. The creak of wood, if it comes, does not disturb. Any faint noise from outside feels muffled and far away. The center of attention stays with breath and warmth. Chest rising under the quilt, chest falling back into stillness, over and over, like the softest tide. Nothing to change, nothing to correct. The eyes may feel heavy now, lids drifting lower, maybe closing completely. Even with eyes closed, the sense of glow remains, a soft presence just beyond the skin. Breath continues its quiet pattern underneath. In this moment, body and space agree on the same pace. Both choose slow, both choose soft, both choose rest. The room seems to hold each breath gently as it enters and leaves. There is no rush to the next one. Each is complete on its own, calm and full. Then it melts into the room's quiet. The longer this continues, the lighter the mind feels. Worries have less weight. Ideas lose their urgency. All that remains is this simple movement, this gentle flow of air in and out. Here, nothing needs to be done beyond this. The chest rises softly under the quilt. Warm air passes through, again and again. The lantern glow settles around it all like a hush. Everything inside and outside begins to match. One quiet rhythm, one shared calm. Breath, body and room resting together in a single still moment that goes on, and on, and on, fading softly into deeper and deeper quiet. Warm light wraps around the nook. It settles over the chair, over the quilt, over the quiet shapes of the room. Nothing is sharp here. Everything is softened by glow and stillness. The chair cradles your body, familiar now. Its cushions remember your weight. They give just enough, holding you in a steady, gentle embrace. You are not perched on it, you are resting inside it. Across your knees, the quilt lies heavy and kind. Its weight presses down in the most comforting way. Not too much, not too little, just enough to say, stay. Stay here. Stay warm. Stay safe. The room around you is hushed. Walls stand close, like quiet guardians. The window holds the night outside, cool and distant. Inside, only warmth and calm remain. Lantern light moves in small, slow motions. The flame leans, then returns, almost without being seen. Shadows drift along the walls, shifting softly with each tiny change. This motion is so calm, so fluid, it feels like a lullaby made of light. Breath rises and falls under the quilt. The fabric lifts, then settles. in a rhythm that belongs only to you. Warm air enters, warm air leaves. Nothing about it is forced. It simply happens. With each exhale, the body sinks a little deeper into the chair. Shoulders slide down. The back finds an easier curve. Even the muscles of the face soften, as if they are growing tired of holding on. Time begins to blur at the edges. It is no longer clear how long you have been here. Minutes stretch out, loose and gentle, like long pieces of soft cloth. They overlap and fold into each other until they are hard to tell apart. Every part of the nook is working together now. The warmth of the lantern, the steady support of the chair, the heavy, soothing weight of the quilt, the deep, kind quiet of the room. Slowly, the feeling of sitting in a chair becomes something more. It starts to feel like being held inside a small private world. Outside this world, life continues somewhere far away. Inside, only softness and stillness remain. Thoughts drift in at their own pace. They arrive like distant figures at the edge of a path. For a moment, they are visible. Then they fade back into the dimness without needing to be followed. It becomes easy to forget what time it is, whether it is late or very late or almost not a time at all. The mind stops asking those questions. It is more interested in the glow on the wall, the warmth on the legs, the slow rise of the chest. The chair feels deeper now, as if you have slowly sunk a little further into it, not actually moving, but becoming more and more a part of it. Its shape and yours fit together more closely. There are fewer spaces between you and the support beneath you. The quilt holds the lower body steady. Legs feel heavy, almost anchored to the chair and floor. Any tiny urge to move them grows softer, then quieter, then disappears. They are content where they are. Around you, the room breathes its own quiet breath. The air is still, yet somehow full. Full of warmth, full of safety, full of a calm that does not need words. When the eyes open, they see lantern light and slow shadows. When they close, those same shapes linger behind the eyelids as gentle impressions. Either way, the feeling is the same. You remain in the nook, wrapped in its easy, sheltering presence. Sometimes a memory might pass by, a small image from the day, a voice, a hallway, a moment. It appears soft around the edges, then slides away into the background. The mind starts to move in the same way the shadows do, slowly, smoothly, with no need to arrive anywhere. Nothing must be decided now. Nothing must be solved. Breath continues its steady path. In and out. In and out. Each cycle feels a little slower than the last, a little wider, a little more distant from anything urgent. The body and the nook feel more and more like one thing. The warmth outside your skin and the warmth inside it meet. The quiet in the room and the quiet in your thoughts meet. Boundaries soften. If a sound appears, a faint creak, a tiny faraway noise, it passes through without catching. The room absorbs it, smooths it out, and returns to stillness. Nothing can disturb the deeper calm that has begun to fill this space. Nothing needs to. The lantern's glow seems lower now, though it still shines. Its light has the feeling of a late hour when everything has already been said and done. Only the gentle remains, only the softest tones. In this softened light, the mind begins to slip toward something dreamlike. Thoughts no longer line up in clear rows. They bend and melt, mixing with the slow shapes on the wall. Images come and go without fully forming. The the sense of drifting becomes stronger, not drifting outward, but inward, deeper into the nook, deeper into the chair, deeper into the warm, steady dimness that holds you. The quilt across your knees feels like part of that drift, as if its weight is guiding you down into a quieter layer of rest. The more you feel it, the more the rest of the body lets go. The more the mind allows itself to float. Breath feels far away now, but still dependable. It is like a soft tide at the edge of awareness. You know it is there, moving in and out, keeping perfect time. You do not need to watch it closely anymore. Narrow details lose importance. Instead of the grain in the wood or the exact pattern on the quilt, only the overall feeling remains. Warmth, softness, safety. A quiet sense of being surrounded. Even the idea of sitting in a room begins to loosen. It might feel more like floating in a pocket of warmth and shade. The outlines of chair and walls and window blur in the mind. What stays clear is the comfort they create together. The nook feels deeper than its size, like a small doorway into a much larger quiet. That quiet stretches beyond the walls, beyond the house, into the night. But you remain here, held in the softest part of it. Thoughts grow slower, breath grows softer. The body grows heavier, and yet somehow lighter at the same time. Heavier in the chair, lighter in the mind. Lantern light continues to glow, but becomes gentler, like a whisper of brightness. The shadows move, but their motion is almost invisible now. The room does not ask for any attention at all. It simply supports you, without question. In this slow, drifting space, it becomes natural to let everything go. The day, the noise, the plans, even the awareness of time itself. What remains is the feeling of being here, in this warm, lantern-lit nook, held by the chair, anchored by the quilt, surrounded by a quiet that is soft enough to fall into. The edge between waking and sleep grows thinner. You are close to it now, resting right on that gentle border. Thoughts loosen, then loosen a little more, and start to dissolve into something deeper. The room seems to nod, approving, and stays very still. Nothing more is needed. Warm light, soft shadows, slow breathing, the steady comfort of fabric and wood, and quiet air. All of it gathers around you like a soft, dim cocoon. All of it leans in the same direction, toward rest, toward silence, toward the easy, unhurried drift into sleep that waits just beyond this moment and is already beginning. The room is quiet and warm. Lantern light glows softly, resting over the nook in a gentle, steady way. Everything feels still and calm, as if the space itself is taking a slow, peaceful breath. The body is settled, the quilt is warm, and the chair holds you with quiet strength. After a moment, the lantern's glow begins to soften. It is not sudden. It feels like a natural shift, as if the flame is easing itself into a gentler rhythm. The light becomes a little warmer, a little dimmer, a little more diffuse around the edges. Shadows stretch out softly along the walls. They grow deeper, yet somehow more welcoming. They melt into one another, blending into quiet folds of darkness. Every shadow feels warm, like a soft blanket laid gently across the room. The lantern flickers gently. Its small movements send ripples of shifting light across the ceiling. Those ripples slow with each pulse, becoming smoother, calmer, almost unnoticeable. It feels like the flame is growing tired in the sweetest, most peaceful way. In the dimmer glow, the room feels larger. The corners are softer. The shelves, the table, the window, all slip into warm, gentle outlines. Nothing is sharp, nothing is loud, nothing presses for attention. The flame bends again, a small, graceful movement. Each time it rises, the glow gathers softly. Each time it lowers, shadows deepen, embracing the walls. The whole scene feels like a quiet lullaby made of light. Breath moves slowly in this shifting glow. The chest rises, lifting the quilt a little. Then it falls again, settling deeper into the warmth. This rhythm syncs with the soft dimming of the lantern, as if both are drifting into the same calm. The body sinks lower into the chair. Its weight becomes gentler, as though it is floating and resting at the same time. Muscles loosen, the spine softens, the jaw relaxes. Everything drifts downward, towards stillness. As the lantern dims, the air feels softer, thicker with comfort. It wraps around your arms, your shoulders, your legs. It moves like a warm hush, settling over the skin and easing deeper inward. Even the smallest parts of the body feel touched by this dim light. The quilt grows heavier in feeling, but in a peaceful way. It anchors the legs. It holds warmth close. Its weight encourages the body to let go, to yield, to sink deeper into the quiet of the nook. Thoughts begin to float in slow, disconnected shapes. One drifts in, then fades before fully forming. Another rises gently, then melts into a blur of shadow and warmth. Nothing stays long. Nothing needs to. The lantern's glow fades another small step. The flame is still present, still steady, but now softer than before. Its light reaches less of the room, creating deeper pockets of shadow. These shadows feel safe, like places meant for rest. On the walls, shapes move slowly with the last gentle flickers. A curve of light here, a drifting shadow there. Their motion is almost like the slow sweep of a dream passing by, just beyond awareness. Time begins to slip away. Seconds stretch. Minutes blur. It becomes hard to know how much time has passed since the lantern began to dim. The mind floats in a warm haze of light and shadow. Breath becomes quieter. It rises softly, then falls without effort. The sound of breathing blends with the faint hum of stillness in the room. Both together form a gentle, continuous calm. The lantern dims again. Its glow pulls inward, gathering close to the glass. Only a warm halo remains around it. Everything else slips into soft, velvety darkness. The nook feels even more like a nest now, a small, sheltered space surrounded by deeper night. The chair holds the body with unwavering care. The quilt cradles the legs, heavy and warm. The faintest flicker runs across the walls, slow enough to be missed if attention drifts. It is the lantern's quiet farewell as it settles into its lowest glow. A final smoothing of light across the room before surrendering to rest. Eyes grow heavier. Lids drift downward. The warm dimness presses gently against them, inviting them to stay closed. Behind the eyes, the glow remains as a soft afterimage. The flame steadies to a faint, steady point. Its movement becomes so slow, so slight, it almost seems still. The room holds its breath with it. Everything feels suspended in the softest, most delicate quiet. Thoughts sink deeper. They slide into warm shadow. They stretch into long, dreamy forms that fade before they fully appear. The mind moves in slow motion, drifting wherever the dim light leads. The room's darkness is friendly, familiar. It holds the warmth of the lantern even as the glow recedes. It wraps the walls, the ceiling, the floor in tender shadow. It holds the body, the way night holds a quiet hillside. Breath flows easily. Each inhale brings a hint of the lantern's warmth. Each exhale melts deeper into the calm around you. The rhythm grows slower, like the last flickers of the flame. In this deepening dimness, the sense of self begins to blur. You become part of the chair, part of the air, part of the warm threads of shadow. The room and the body share the same soft stillness. Nothing separates them. The lantern glows one shade softer, then softer still. Its light becomes a whisper against the darkness, a quiet, golden whisper that asks nothing at all. The room rests with it. Everything slows to almost nothing. The warmth lingers. The shadows cradle. Breath drifts. In this moment, the world grows distant. Only the soft, dim light remains. Only the gentle weight of the quilt. Only the calm of the chair beneath you. The flame gives one last faint flicker, a tiny shift of brightness. Then it settles back into stillness. Warm, quiet, almost gone. Shadows fold around the nook like a soft embrace. They hold you, gently, completely. Nothing pulls you outward. Everything draws you inward. Breath grows softer, slower. The body sinks deeper, heavier. Mind drifts further into the warm, dim quiet. Until the lantern, the chair, the quilt, and the room become a single, seamless calm. A calm that settles over everything. A calm that lingers. A calm that continues on into the deepest, gentlest quiet. The room is quiet now. The lantern's glow has settled into its softest form, a faint warmth resting in the air. Shadows lie still along the walls. Nothing moves quickly, and nothing asks for attention. The chair holds the body with familiar ease. Its cushions remember the shape they've come to know. The quilt feels warm and steady across the legs, a gentle weight that keeps the body grounded. Every part of the nook feels close and comforting. Breath moves slowly. It rises in a small, natural lift beneath the quilt. Then it drifts outward again, giving the room a quiet sense of rhythm. Each cycle grows softer, each one a little longer than the last. The space around you seems to lean in with calm acceptance. Warm air brushes lightly over the skin. The dim glow touches the edges of the room, turning everything into soft outlines. Nothing is sharp here. Nothing is loud. Thoughts settle like dust falling gently onto a tabletop, a little at a time, barely noticeable, until the mind grows quiet and open, like a wide, warm field at dusk. The hours outside the room don't matter now. The world has drawn back, leaving a gentle pocket of stillness around you. Inside this pocket, time feels loose and slow, as if it has smoothed itself into a single, peaceful moment. The body responds to this softness. Shoulders loosen, arms grow heavy, hips sink deeper into the chair's familiar support. The legs rest without the slightest urge to move. Each inhale feels warm. Each exhale fades into the air, leaving a little more ease behind. The breath asks nothing. It only gives. If the eyes are open, they see dim shapes wrapped in faint golden shadow. If they are closed, the warmth remains, hovering just behind the eyelids. Both are the same. Both are calm. The room feels as if it is holding you gently, not tightly, not firmly, just enough to let you lean into it without hesitation. There is nothing you must do to deserve this rest. It is simply here, ready for you. In this moment, Even the smallest sensations feel kind. The texture of the quilt, the slow shift of air, the quiet weight of the body. Everything blends into one steady comfort. A soft heaviness spreads through the arms, then through the hands. Fingers relax without trying. They rest wherever they are, quiet and warm. The legs feel deeply anchored, wrapped in heat and softness. The quilt's weight gathers around them like a warm embrace. It encourages them to stay still, to sink deeper, to drift. The breath deepens again, barely enough to notice, but enough to bring a little more warmth into the chest. The rise, the fall, the gentle pause between them. All of it moves in slow harmony with the quiet of the room. Thoughts thin out even more. They lose their edges. They drift apart, floating into the soft shadows. The mind grows peaceful and wide, ready for whatever rest is coming. The lantern's glow seems to dim further, even if it hasn't changed at all. Its presence feels quieter, more distant, like the last light of evening settling into stillness. It doesn't fade away. It simply steps back, making room for deeper calm. Here, in the warm hush of the nook, the body feels suspended, not floating upward, not sinking downward, just resting in place, held by the chair, wrapped by the quilt, surrounded by quiet. Breath grows lighter, almost like a soft breeze through an open window. It flows gently, easily, guiding the body toward deeper rest without any effort. The room supports this gentle drift. It offers nothing but comfort, nothing but warmth, nothing but space to settle into. Even the mind begins to feel heavier, like it is ready to lie down within itself. Images soften, thoughts blur. Awareness spreads thin, like warm water trickling over smooth stone. The deeper shadows in the room feel welcoming. They hold no weight, no worry, no expectation. They feel like places the body and mind can rest without interruption. Soft places, warm places, safe places. The lantern's dim glow touches just enough of the room to keep it familiar. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is lost. Everything is exactly where it should be, resting in gentle harmony. The body follows that harmony. It moves less. Breath falls into an even slower rhythm. The chest rises only slightly now. The fall lasts longer. Muscles soften one by one. If a single thought remains, it is quiet, barely there, a sleepy shape drifting at the edge of awareness. It doesn't linger long. In this soft, warm stillness, the mind begins to surrender. The body follows. Both drift toward whatever peaceful state is waiting. There is no need to choose it, no need to chase it. It arrives on its own. Warmth gathers around the heart, a slow, tender fullness. It spreads outward through the ribs, downward through the stomach, all the way to the legs. It brings with it a deep, steady ease. Shadows continue to deepen. Light continues to dim. The room grows quieter with each breath, and you grow quieter with it. Nothing remains but softness, soft thoughts, soft breath, soft rest. The lantern glows one last time in your awareness, a gentle, reassuring presence. Then it fades a little further, as if bowing to the approaching hush. In this calm, everything aligns. The warmth, the quiet, the steady rhythm of breath, the weight of the quilt, the embrace of the chair, the dim glow of the room. All of it joins together, guiding you toward deep rest, not pushing, not pulling, just gently opening the way. Here, in this soft and quiet space, a peaceful rest awaits. It waits patiently. It waits kindly. It waits just for you. And as the last traces of light settle into silence, you drift slowly, deeply into the warm, quiet calm that follows.